and welcome back to Teen Talk, the space where we have open, heartfelt conversations about life as a teenager. I'm Reem, and I'm really glad to have you here today. In this episode, we are going to talk about something that a lot of us can relate to. Those moments when life feels a little bit overwhelming, and when you're just trying to figure out things. Growing up comes with its fair share of questions, changes, and emotions, and it's okay not to have all the answers. That's why I'm so excited to be joined by Yumna Al-Hamwi, who's here to share her story, the lessons she has learned along the way, and how she has navigated some of the challenges we all face as we grow up. So, whether you are feeling a little bit unsure about where you are headed or just need to hear that you are not alone in how you are feeling, this episode is for you. Let us settle in, take a deep breath, and dive into this conversation together. Welcome to Teen Talk. Hey Yumna, welcome to Teen Talk. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because let's be honest, being a teen isn't easy. So, before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Yumna and what's something that has been in your mind lately?
So my name is Yumna Al-Hamwi, and I'm from Syria and studying in the Aga Khan Academy in Mozambique ever since 2021. And something that has been in my mind, especially ever since like semester 2 of grade 8 started, I realized that I will start to have a lot of school pressure with the following academic years.
So, until now, how's grade 8 going?
Well, it's going pretty well. Like I thought it would be much harder, but everything is under control until now. We don't know about the future.
That's good, that's good. So let's dive into today's conversations, and we know that a lot of teenagers feel lost at times, right? So how do you, they don't know who they are or what they exactly want. So have you ever felt that way?
Well, you could say definitely yes. And I have felt this ever since I was grade 5, like the beginning of grade 5, and it was pretty hard to deal with, to be honest. And though it's still not gone yet, but I mostly got used to dealing with it. So, yeah.
So how did you deal with that, or still dealing with it?
Well, it's actually related to time. Like time has passed, and I just the more things stayed with me, the more I started to keep them up. It's okay. And start to maybe became like a habit. Not like a perfect habit or something, but
What do you tell yourself at those times?
well, I used to do some things that are not pretty good. But I started speaking with good things with myself.
Do you journal usually?
I used to.
Yeah.
I still do, but it's not as much as I used to because there was a small part of my life and it was the shortest. But I used to journal every day and it was such a nice thing. Reading back, it's hilarious reading how I used to, for example, think and write and the things that are happening in my life. I used to think that they were so hard, but it's just so simple. And I used to give myself even future messages to my future self. It used to be really adorable to hear.
So you mentioned you say to yourself some stuff, right? So what kind of stuff do you say to yourself?
You mean the negatives or something?
No. Just that very kind self-talk when you are feeling lost.
Oh, well, actually, I imagine that I'm talking to my inner child. That's what I used to do at the beginning of the healing journey, you could say. So I used to speak with her and just as if it's an actual child because I love children, especially polite children. And my inner child was pretty polite, so I just I started loving her the way she is because I cannot change her obviously because she created my current self. So I just for example used to tell her you look really pretty today, or you did a good job and you have done enough today and you don't have to put too much pressure, at least you did this and I'm proud of you. And I just give her good compliments that she needed to hear ever since she was an actual child. So
How important is that kind voice that you need to hear. So like because we know that many teens they fail to have those kind words to themselves. So how important is that to you now?
Oh, well, because I also was in the phase of speaking negatively to the inner child, it could actually, or it would, like, definitely destroy your mental health so terribly. Because if you keep, like, saying something mean, you would actually, like, start to live in this negative environment and you would just decently be like depressed all day and all the time, and it would really make you have like low quality of work and even like daily habits, which could be like the easiest thing to do if like as you with normal days. But if you keep like saying things negatively and think negatively, it would just be really, it would give you like a really low energy to continue the things that you're supposed to do, even though like you cannot control whether you want to do it or not, because for example school. So yeah.
So how did you change that? How did you change that negative voice to the positive one or the kind one?
Well, I used to like also talk with my friend and like we used to like discuss about some things, like just try to make it a way to relieve stress. And because if you like heal by yourself, depending on the level of healing you are, it could be like it would either take a longer time and it would be much harder depending on the situation you are in. So, for example, when I was in my worst situation, I was like alone for a pretty long time. But then after, I decided like to talk with my friend or with my mom, and like just open up a tiny bit, like as much as I could have opened like that tiny like box of emotions, and just trying to express it and understand why do I feel that and how do I fix it and since when do I feel it, and then also like also see the perspective of this emotion from another person. So it would really show what I'm feeling according to different people, even though like I'm only speaking to one person in that conversation. So I would understand this emotion from the person who's feeling the emotion, which is me, and someone who is like observing the emotion.
Was it easy to open up? Or it took you took you so much time to think about it?
No, it was like the longest time.
Oh.
You could think of the longest time possible, but yeah, I managed to open up now.
So, if you want to talk about expectations, it might seem a very heavy word, right? So, do you remember a specific moment where you felt just completely overwhelmed by expectations, maybe whether from your school, from your parents, or even yourself?
Oh, that's like a yes for me. Even though it was like a pressure from myself, it felt pretty hard due to having new things in life and trying to heal from other things. It used to hurt me just like to tell myself that I needed to be perfect in academics, in relationships, in self growth, and basically like everything that a person needs to achieve in life. But at that time, it was like mainly relationships and academics because that was the thing that was mostly around me, because like around campus, which was only like people and studies basically. So
So, are those expectations still there till now?
well, yes, but there is a level of it. Like I'm not putting it as a must do like expectation, but I'm saying if like if I get to heal myself and be the better version of myself the way I want it to be with the environment that I am around in a safe way for myself, and like a way that could be more effective and successful depending on the place that I am around. So it,
Do you compare yourself usually to people around you or even to your old self, if you want to say?
well, I used to compare myself to other people, but now I definitely stopped. Like I stopped like a year and a half ago. You can almost say like 2 years. But I do compare myself from myself now and myself from before positively, so that I could know which progress level I am in. So did I get better? Did I get worse? How can I fix it? And how did I like manage to succeed in some things. Doesn't have to be all perfect because it depends on the perfect that like you want. So
How different was it to compare yourself to others and to compare yourself to yourself?
well, you could say that there's a huge difference. So, when I used to compare myself to others, it used to destroy me like so much. And that at that time, I was like at my worst phase, you could say. But like after I started comparing myself with myself, I actually realized that why would I even care about what people, like, for example, do or what people think of me, myself? And I just mind my own business and do the things that can make me feel better for myself and make me feel, not even like feel, but like make me develop myself through the things that I want to develop in. So, and it's like such a better thing to do.
If we want to talk about now pressure, maybe. So sometimes we feel pressure to be a certain way, right? It relates out to what we were talking about previously, insight. We're still figuring out things, right? We feel like we're still figuring out stuff. So how do you handle that internal conflict?
Well, after a really long time and slow journey, I still didn't really like find a good way to handle it. It just came by time and patience, but speaking like to myself positively, which definitely took a really long time to achieve. And like it's an alright way to handle pressure, but as well as looking for things that you may like to do, and it does not have to be something perfect. So you can just do it however you like. For example, I found that making food for myself when no one is at home is literally like the best thing to do, like in the phrase that I am currently. And like focusing on the word no one at home because I'm someone who likes to do things with peace and privacy. So just something that could show me like how being alone can like make you do things that can really like develop you with like peace of mind, you know. So you don't have like to focus on other things. And I don't usually actually focus on other things. I just start focusing on myself and on what I do and how should I do it. So
Is it part of self-care?
mm-hmm.
So what is self-care? What do you do? And like for Yumna, I mean, because each one of us have their own self-care and they do different stuff to make themselves feel like I'm okay. I'm actually now I'm feeling better. So how does self-care look like for Yumna?
Well, it's usually when I do take myself on a walk, like around campus, and like just alone. And like for me, because I have like on my watch, I have like the goal to reach 8,000 like feet, like of steps. So I always like try to aim to reach the steps, and then I could, and like I feel like having peace of mind and start just talking to myself as if also like talking to my inner child as I mentioned before. And also like for example when no one's home, which would be like a great opportunity, for example, to make something or bake something for myself or watch a like series or a movie and maybe clean the house when no one tells me to do it because I like doing things if no one tells me to do it. And just organize stuff, prepare things for the next day, like take care, for example, of my hygiene, and it would just have like make myself like organized and clean and like organized in my mind too. So does not have to be like meaning by organized. It's only just like outside. It's also like the inside of mine. So
You talked about home. So if you want to define home, what is home?
well,
Is it only your parents or do you think sometimes friends can be home?
I feel currently, I feel like my parents are like my home because though I do feel homesick, doesn't mean if I have my parents doesn't mean that I don't get homesick because I have also my home back in my country because also like my family, my bigger family like they're also like a home to me. They're literally like on the same level as my parents, so they are like a huge priority for me. So I define home as a place where you can be freely in, and you don't feel lonely. Like you can feel all emotions at the same time. You can express them with people that you love and that you prioritize, and the people who actually know you well, and the ones who truly love you by who you are, not just the fact that, for example, that I'm Yumna, or something that's like about me, like visually maybe, or like my personality only. So it's something that just makes you feel safe, makes you feel happy. Yeah, so just really.
So, if we want to talk about parents and teens relationships, so parents and teens usually struggle to understand each other, right? So, what's one thing you wish your parents knew about what it's really like to be a teenager today, especially considering that age gap? Because we know that when they were kids or when they were teenagers, their age or their era was totally different from the way that we are living now, social media, technology, and everything.
Yeah.
So, what is it like to be? What do you want them to know about how to deal with teenager, or like what is it like to be a teenager today?
Well, I would definitely say that communication is key because thankfully I have like both open and understanding parents. But even if our relationship is like very, very strong, communication can also break some parts of the child's and the parents' relationship. So like trying to have conversations with parents, and I mean like the calmer the better it could help like to understand each other and know how to deal with situations that happens like to both parents and their children, so that it could also like give them the meanings of like what the child or the parents are thinking of. And because they're also all living in the same roof, they cannot like live all different lives, because it would be pretty hard mentally and like physically and emotionally.
Yeah, so how is your maybe friendship or relationship with your parents?
Well, it's like, thank goodness it's really perfect. So well, like we have sometimes, or actually most of the time, we have like communication phrases each time of like of the moment or the week. Sometimes like have family times per week, and sometimes we go out, or like my parents bring food home, like my mom cooks, and we just have like a really nice family time that we could like open and talk. Because even though we're like the four members of my family, including me, like we're all very busy, and like everyone knows that they have to do, like they have courses to do and like tasks and those stuff, but we still find like any time of the day, like at least for like an hour or something, for us to sit together, maybe watch some Syrian TV shows together, and maybe like enjoy some meals and having some nice meetings, we can call them sometimes. And it would just really help you to know that they're like your priority people are around you. Like even if you are living distantly away from them, but they could still be next to you by heart. So
So, how important those connections are to you? I know because look, many teens now they prefer just going and sitting in their room, just looking at themselves and just like staying in social media with friends and everything. So, how important those connections are? Like, if anyone is listening now, what do you want to tell them about their relationship with their parents?
well, it actually depends on the relationship, because I'm not fully aware of all kinds of relationships. But like the ones that I'm aware of, for example, like my relationship with my parents type, which is like a positive relationship, you could actually, you guys, like the family can build a stronger bond for like the child's future also. And they're, and like because people come and go, but like mostly like the family can like will stay like the last. So just having like the fact that there are people who you can trust, depending on the situation of the family, as I mentioned again. It could also make a huge difference because if there's a situation of the family it's not good, which I hope it does not happen to any like a child, because this could actually also make a huge difference if you don't have communication. Like it could change the whole person's personality. So, and also if their mindset isn't mature enough, it could also be really harmful for the child's mind. But just having them, like the family, all bounded together, you just know that they're the people like behind your back, and they could always support you when you need the help too. And you could know, like when you're, for example, you'll become like the successful person that you want to be. Like you know the people who are gonna support you and who are gonna help you through the progress.
They'll be the ones who they are standing there always maybe in the corner and clapping for you when everyone is not, right?
Exactly.
So, yes. So now if you want to talk about ways to that helped you cope, right? So with all the confusion that we usually live and the pressure, so have you found anything that helps you stay grounded or make sense of things?
Well, not yet, but I'm still figuring it out.
Like a
Well,
strategy or maybe a certain habit or like anything like journaling, for example, you mentioned it before, but anything that made you feel grounded.
Well, I'll just go back to the point where I said self care, because according to my current self, like for now, self care is like extremely like a big priority for me. So because going back like with my worst phrases, I used to not like have self care at all. And I used to be like all so lost and confused, and I have like no point in life, just extremely hopeless. Even though if I was a child, does not mean that I did not have struggles. Um, I was just trying to just like know, okay, what am I gonna do in life like when I grow up? And I just start overthinking things all over again. But when I started like making my self care, I found myself again, and then I started reflecting, focusing on the word reflecting. It just helped me get to know how much I improved, and like how like hard there was the process, but the results turned out really successful, and it was really great to just know how like my inner child went through all of these things and just reached not the end, but like the the current self now, and so it's really great.
So, if any teenager is listening now to our podcast, so what's one piece of advice you would give to another teenager who feels stuck between who they are and who they are expected to be? And maybe we go back to the same thing, which is expectations again. So, yeah.
Well, trust the process and work on developing yourself, and also mainly respect yourself and make yourself a priority.
That's good. Okay, now I want to tell you to give a feedback to your inner child or your younger self, and that you just feel that will give her some kind of reassurance. So, what would you say to her, to the younger Yumna?
So I would say a lot of things, but like mainly I would say don't like really trust anyone. Just you have to really like know a person really well, because like just be like scared of your enemy once, like, and be scared of like your friend like 1,000 times. So I think it was like a quote in Arabic, but I kind of forgot. But also keep boundaries, and like in academics, there's something that you better work on the most and develop while developing yourself more, and also playing sports and my like enjoying my hobbies, just not to lose the spark of my creativity, and also love yourself.
Thank you so much, Yumna. This was such a very honest conversation. I think a lot of people will relate to what you have shared. Thank you again for being open. So, before we wrap up, what's one thing you're looking forward in your journey ahead?
Well, I'm looking forward to become a great psychologist, or
Oh,
either like have the hobby of being a nutritionist.
Oh, that's nice. um, This was such an incredible conversation. Thank you again. I really appreciate you being open and honest about your experiences. It's not always easy to talk about those stuff, but it's exactly what's making those conversations really powerful. To everyone listening, I hope you found something in today's episode that resonates with you. Whether it's a feeling that you had, a struggle you have faced, or either just a reminder that you are not alone in navigating all the ups and downs of being a teenager. Remember, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. It's okay not to have everything figured out, and it's definitely okay to ask for help when you need it. We're all growing up, learning, and finding out our way, one step at a time. Thanks again to you, Nat Hamwi, for joining us today, and thank you all for tuning in to Teen Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, and just leave a review to let us know your thoughts. Until next time, take care of yourselves, be kind to your mind, and keep the conversations going. This is Teen Talk, and we will catch you in the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.